Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Late in Season 42 I decided to seek an answer to the question, can you still play C'Thun Druid? Well, who would even ask such a question? Some of my viewers did, so I went ahead and tried it out. And I have to say that the verdict overall, I don't want you to waste your time on this video, so I have to say that the overall verdict is that no, I do not recommend that you play C'Thun Druid. But if you're interested in why, then we can take a little bit of a look at that. So this is the best list that I was able to come up with. I'm sure it's still not completely ideal, but it's the best working thing that I had. So this is very heavy C'Thun build. It has a ton of C'Thun activators, disciples, elders, chosens, worshippers, Darkarakoa. So this list is able to build a really big C'Thun. And thanks to Doomcore, it's also able to play twice if needed. The list also includes what C'Thun synergy cards there are otherwise, so there's Twin Emperor Veclor obviously, and there's also Klaxi Amber Weavers, which turned out to be much better in the current meta than they were before. So actually Klaxi Amber Weaver was one of the best performing cards in this build. I really enjoyed playing with that. The deck otherwise is perhaps a bit different from other slow druid decks because it lacks some ramp. There's Wild Growth, and then there's Nourish that can also potentially be used for ramp or for card draw, depending on the situation. But there's no Maya Keepers and there's no Jade Blossoms in this list. This is because all the C'Thun minions fill out your early game turns, so it's often a bit clunky trying to play those ramp cards. And because you don't summon bigger man and then even bigger men, then the rewards for ramping up are also smaller than they are with something like a Jade Druid. This is also the reason why Spreading Plague didn't make the final cut. I had Spreading Plague in some versions of this deck. I also played with Maya Keepers in some versions of this deck. But because there are all these minions coming down on the earlier turns, then Spreading Plague typically was not quite that strong. Instead, I ultimately opted to play with Spellbreakers as my tech card of choice, because there is quite a lot of buffs and stuff going around in the meta, and Spellbreaker is able to remove those and give you a better shot at contesting the board with your existing minions. And I have to say, I did have some pretty good times playing this deck. This was a fun deck at times, but why it's not working in the current meta? There are basically three really top decks right now, right this very moment. So there's Kazakus Priest, there's Jade Druid, and there's Tempo Rogue. Against Kazakus Priest, this deck is actually pretty good. This deck is favored against Kazakus Priest. But then again, Jade Druid would also be favored against Kazakus Priest, so that's not really a reason to play C'Thun Druid. Even though, if you're facing a ton of Priest, then you could play this just for the flavor, because it's still favored. Stuff like Klaxi Amber Weaver, for example, has been performing extremely well against Priest. Okay, they can silence it, and it's still a Chillwind Yeti. If they silence it, it doesn't become a 4-1 like a Twilight Drake, so some pretty good times there. Also, this Spellbreaker, which is able to deny card draw from Priest, is pretty big deal in that matchup. And then just that abundance of 4 attack minions that the Priest really doesn't want to deal with. However, things become more grim in the other two main matchups. The first, Jade Druid. This deck just loses to Jade Druid, unfortunately, because you just cannot keep up with those bigger and bigger and bigger Jades. There is Skulking Geist in this deck. Skulking Geist helps you in 3 matchups. It helps you against Priest somewhat because it denies them some of that power, some of that fuel from their Anduin. It helps against Evolve Shaman because you can get those evolves out of the deck and that way limit the ability of Shaman to build really big minions. And it helps against Jade Druid because you can deny them from going infinite. Unfortunately, even though you can deny them from going infinite with the Skulking Geist if you find them, then those Jades are still going to be too big for the minions in this deck to deal with. C'Thun's choice, I mean, you play a 4-2, they play a 9-9. And C'Thun is very unreliable in clearing out large minions. You can easily build like a 20-20 C'Thun with this deck, but if they have like 3 or 4 big Jades on board, then C'Thun is just not going to clear those. So some problematic times. Very bad matchup. Then the final matchup, the Rogue matchup, the final of the 3 big matchups. This build, when I run with 2 Spellbreakers, this one is reasonable against Rogue. When I was trying with Spreading Plague and stuff, it just didn't work out. For example, Spreading Plague. If you're playing Jade Druid, you play Spreading Plague and you develop some really big Jades behind that. So the Spreading Plague denies the opponent the chance to attack your face or anything meaningful for a turn, and then those big Jades start punching your opponent or remove the minions. But with this deck you don't have those Jades, so sitting behind the Spreading Plague just doesn't win you games. Whereas Spellbreaker is able to silence stuff like Southsea Captain, it's able to silence some buffs away, it just gives you much more chances to trade more evenly on the board. So when I included that card, it increased my win rate against Tempo Rogue. It still didn't make it a good matchup, but it made it somehow a possible one. But overall, with 3 dominant decks in the metagame, and this deck has one favorite matchup, one really bad matchup, and one slightly unfavored matchup right now, so it's not that great. Nonetheless, if you enjoy playing with C'Thun, I hope that this list helps you a little bit to do that with some success on the ladder. I'm sure there's still ways to improve this further. Is 2 Spellbreakers needed? With the smaller amount of ramp, is 2 Ultimate Infestations really needed? I think 1 at least is, but is 2, so maybe there's some room to find some more answers to build this deck, but overall this list is feeling relatively well formed. As always, I have prepared some gameplay for you to see, so let's go take a look at that. And remember, if you enjoy this content, then please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more. Let's go take a look at that gameplay.
Well played.
Oh dear, I've lost so many games that I'm facing rank 1s. Yeah. I just don't have it in me to grind like Hearthstone requires you to do. This looks like a C'Thun's Chosen next turn. It's relatively annoying for a priest to deal with. Let's just jam that fellow out there. Then I have the Cluxy Amberweaver, which is going to be online relatively soon. He's going to have a Shadow Word Pain. I guess we're about to find out. Let's jam that guy out there and just hit him in the face with the C'Thun's Chosen. Now we get to see if he has the pain. Okay, that's pain out of the way at least. Oh, I could also play Elder and Disciple. I think I'm going to play the Dark Oracle over here. Let's just play that. Then I can play into Amberweaver Elder next turn if I need. He could be looking for a Shadow Word Death here. Probably not though. Oh, that Powered Shield. Not going to save you against the Disciple. Oh, this is going to be a good turn. So I attack there. The Disciple there. I can also play the Amberweaver, which on the other hand does not care about his Dragonfire potions. So far this is going alright. He still had the pint size combo. He was very unlikely to have it because he's playing a singleton deck. So I wasn't too scared of that. I'll probably need to nourish for some cards, because I kind of need more juice to keep going. And I think this is a good spot to use my coin, because I get to play the Amberweaver again. Get another 4-10 out there. Now the pint size horror combo is gone. There's still the Dragonfire potion. I don't know what he got from the Shadow Visions yet, right? I think I don't know that. I don't even have to get this one damaged. I can just swipe and Disciple. I think I like that. Let's do this. Alright. C'Thun is a 15-15 by now. So it's growing along nicely. He hasn't found Raza yet.
Let me change your mind. Mind if I roll need?
Okay. And that's completely fine by me. I can swipe and Wrath. There's my Geist. Yeah, I think this does call for a swipe. But I do need to kill that one too. I don't necessarily have to Wrath here. I can just hero power down this one, hit that one, and play a Twilight Elder. This is fine. Gives me some more tools for future turns in the form of Wrath. And if he finds his Raza and plays that, I can just play Ultimate Infestation on that. Well, Kazakus can be a problem, because it can deny me the possibility to play C'Thun twice if he finds a Polymorph Potion. Lots of cycle going on. A fairly useless use of silence, really. But I think this does call for an Ultimate Infestation on his 5-5. Let's kill that one and make my own 5-5. And draw some cards. Because cards are pretty cool. Do I need to trade away the Kazakus? What is Kazakus going to do? Well, it can hit here and then he can hold in home. Yeah. I can just hit him in the face. I don't have to trade it into the Kazakus right now. Let him worry about how he's going to answer this. Hitting there still doesn't make it die to a Dragonfire Potion, for example. C'Thun is a 16-16. So if this is it, then he's dead. Okay, he's dead. I had only 7 cards remaining in the deck, so I was pretty likely to find C'Thun at this point. I wonder what I would need to do to make them better. Oh, it's going to wildcard every time here. Because I have the Elders in hand, so I get to play Elder on 2. That's pretty strong. No idea what kind of rogue deck this is, but it's most likely going to be Tempo Rogue. I just couldn't find the Prince, I suppose. So we have a decent shot here. So I get the C'Thun to 10-10 for next turn, which means I have the potential to play the Amber Weaver. Shaku is going to die no matter which one it attacks. It can also, of course, attack face. He found the Prince. Has he found Shadow Step? Yeah, he does have the Shadow Step. Okay, but it was at least delayed a couple of turns, so maybe there's still a way. Everything in his deck has +2/+2 now. That's cool. I probably need to save the Disciple, actually. Yeah. Trade away the Prince and I play the Amber Weaver. That 4-10 means that basically he has to get the Vile Spine Slayer. Without a Vile Spine Slayer he cannot very effectively deal with this, at least initially, but everything in the deck having +2/+2 does make some kind of a difference. He can take a value trade here, but that will also make him vulnerable to some things. Swipe for one. I think I can also still fight for the board a little bit. So I might actually just hero power down the... yeah, kill this one first, obviously. I can just hero power down the patches and play another Twilight Elder. But now if he has a 1-drop and a Vile Spine Slayer, then he can kill the Amber Weaver. And that's going to be pretty strong. Especially as next turn is going to be the Bone Mare turn. And if he has that 1-drop and Vile Spine, then it's unlikely for me to be able to deny the Bone Mare turn. I have some tools to do it. I have Swipe and Disciple. Why would you ever Vile Spine that one? That doesn't make any sense. Does that mean that he has another Vile Spine in hand? Not necessarily. I think I'll try to get value from this as long as I can. But I'll try to keep some removal options available. So I don't want to try to preserve the health of an individual minion because of the potential of Vile Spine Slayers.
So many wonderful poisons.
Any good moves available? Well, there's always Swipe. And I could trade here so that this one goes down to 1 health. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the strongest thing I can do right now. Then Swipe here. I could swipe again. I think I like that though. Let's do that. Let's set up for lethal. Alright, no coin, no early game, no ramp. Facing what's most likely a Tempo Rogue. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. But let's see what's going to happen. Well, I can play a card on turn 4. But if this was a Spreading Plague, I could only play a card on turn 6. So that's better, right? Kind of. Maybe. Hopefully. Well, he conveniently provides some 1/1 pirates. So that at least I can have fun with my hero power. Boom. Let's hit some 1/1 pirates in the face. But I guess he didn't have Keleseth, or he would have played it, because it makes no sense to summon patches before you play Keleseth if you can avoid it by any means. Ooh. Oh, I don't get to hero power that one down. That feels a little bit bad. I could still hit it to prepare for a swipe next turn. I think I will. I can take 2 damage extra here in order to set up a swipe. Or I could not take that damage and potentially play a Spellbreaker next turn. Now if he happens to play any more 1 health minions, which I guess is a little bit unlikely, then I get some more swipe value. I mean, the pirates are going to have 2 health thanks to the captain, so they're not really vulnerable to that swipe. Maybe that was a mistake. I'm pretty committed to the swipe right now anyway, right? I think I am. If I silence the captain, that's still 7 damage coming in. Puts me down to 11 already with that. I'm still going to go for this. let's take a look at this line of play. I develop a minion, I'm still threatening to swipe. I mean, he can trade away his minions into this one. And that, but if he does that, then this has done what it needed to do. It has then reduced the incoming damage.
Scuttle the ship.
Now he's going to trade in the patches. And I take 5. I'm seriously considering doing that. That would be an interesting move. Does play around swipe, but I mean, you still don't care about that 4 damage to your face. You rather have the swipe anyway. Yeah, this is the correct play. Already down to 13. So things are looking grim. I need to swipe there now. I will go down to 8 already. And I don't think the Arako is going to save me because he's very likely to have heart removal in a hand as large as that. As well as an activator for the heart removal. He 5/5. Yeah, heart removal is lethal. Alternatively, I could silence this one and hero power it down. He would have 5 on board. That's safer.
Your magic shall not save.
Let's try this. Because he can't play Bone Mare yet this turn. So now he has 5 on board. Next turn I can play Malfurion. Get 2 1/5 taunts up. Well, Leroy is lethal, for example. But Leroy is lethal no matter what. This protects me from Wild Spine Slayer lethal. For the moment, anyway. That's a backstab. Yeah. So he doesn't have a Wild Spine Slayer. Which means he's going to hit with the weapon into the Spellbreaker. Yeah.
Quickly.
Why would you do that? That seems strange. Well, he can play Bone Mare on the C'Thun. What can I do against the Bone Mare on C'Thun? I probably need to take the trade on the South Sea Captain. C'Thun becomes a 6/8. I have nothing to contest that for a while. But even if I don't hit with this one, it still doesn't contest it. I think I need to take that.
The circle of life is over.
Well, I'm at 10. He has 3 on board. What if I take the Poisonous Spiders?
Time waits for no one.
He plays Bone Mare on this one. It deals 8. No, 6, 7. I take the Poisonous Spiders here. I can survive a hit from Bone Mare. And if he plays Bone Mare, then C'Thun and the Bone Mare are just going to die to the Frost Widows. He doesn't run AoE in that deck. He has already played 1 backstab.
Truth is found in death.
Okay. What else do you have except the Prince? So no Bone Mare yet. While Spining 1, always an option. He can always Bone Mare next turn. Oh, does he also have a Shadow Step? But you Shadow Step the Wild Spine Slayer, right? Why would you Shadow Step the Prince? That +1/+1 is easily enough. Shadow stepping the prince would be a mistake. He really wants to shadow step the Vilespine. You don't need +2/+2 for the deck. You need to get the hard removal online again. Well, okay. I know he has Shadow Step for the Vilespine Slayer.
A tangled web.
So I actually have to leave Shaku up and kill the Vilespine Slayer instead. I can kill them both. And go down to 6 health.
A tangled web.
How safe do I feel at 6? Not very safe.
Death is eternal. My turn is not.
I can't see a better line.
Light and rot.
And let's see. Now he has just 3 on board, so if he has another Vilespine, I should be able to live through that. Because he's running the Keleseth version, I know he's not running Eviscerate. If he has a Bone Mare for this... well, yeah, that is a problem. Okay, that is a problem. That's potentially a lethal problem. I would have to find something. I'm 1 mana away from Ultimate Infestation. I just thought he didn't have a Bone Mare. It looked like he didn't have one. I haven't spent a single Wrath yet. So I can nourish for cards and pick up a Wrath. Then I can kill the Keleseth and I can still armor up. That might be enough. Unless he has another Bone Mare. So I'm at 9, he has 6 on board. Bone Mare is lethal. Some forms of charge minions are lethal. Leroy is obviously lethal here. I think I put up a surprisingly good fight. Considering how the hands were, but... maybe flawed is a bit of a strong word. These spellworkers really like to show up as well. Every game, 2 spellbreakers in the opening hand, just about. Ha! Time to ramp. But then come the choices. Hero power, so this is another control paladin. I guess I'll go with the Twilight Eld. Well, there are multiple ways for him to kill that. One of them is to use coin and jewel silver. He could also use just Rallying Blade and the minion. We'll see. I think just the Twilight Elder now gives me the best chance to get multiple C'Thun ticks from it. Whereas Twilight Elder later is very likely to only give me 1. But he's going to equip the... oh, a Blessing of Kings. So not so control paladin after all. I mean, I have the option to simply silence this. I only managed to get 1 tick. I think I'll go with the Cthulhu's Chosen. Let's see. Because this is still protected by the Divine Shield. Alright. So far this seems fine. So I will silence the Weaker Flame instead. Now I will still silence the Silverhand Recruit. Hero power and hit into the Weaker Flame. And he's going to have a 1/1 on the board. Instead of a 2/2.
Your magic shall not save.
Slightly weaker against Consecration. slightly stronger against everything else. He cannot play the steed yet. And now I have 2 minions, neither of which this can answer. Of course he can hit here and play Consecration if he has Consecration in hand. But he could have done that also with the Silence 2/2 Wicker Flame. So that would have made no difference. Okay, and I get to deny the Spike with Steed value for next turn. That's nice. So I obviously need to kill this. Then I can play the Dark Arakoa, which then brings the Amber Weavers online. And now Arakoa, the Jerusalem champion, does... Okay, this is Keleseth aggro. Alright. And I was thinking he might be running that. So he could be running Divine Favors and he could be running small-time recruits. This is getting interesting. But there's not going to be any equality in that deck. There can be a single copy of Consecration sometimes. Okay. That doesn't exactly accomplish a whole lot. So I kill this. I will obviously have to kill them both. And then I can play a couple of 4/10s. Basically playing 2 full hand Twilight Drakes on the board. They should be able to do quite a few trades, even through Keleseth. Well, Hydra's pretty good though. I have to admit. Damn, double trading into Hydra. That feels bad. That feels really bad. I think I need to do it though. To 2 health. It's okay. It's going to be okay. This guy's going to trade away that one. I'm going to kill it with the Jerusalem champion. He might steed this one. I think I need to play the Doomcaller out as well. In this matchup I'm not going to play multiple C'Thuns. I just want the 7/9 body on the board. If there is a Consecration in that deck, that's a pretty good turn. But it's more likely for there to be a steed. Peacekeeper. Ooh. That was some pretty powerful stuff. He's likely to run Divine Favor too. So if I play Ultimate Infestation, I give him a better chance to get some Divine Favor value. I might go with the Swipe instead. Save the Ultimate Infestation for a moment where I really need it. Trying to play around Divine Favor a little bit here. I can still draw with this one. And I can swipe here. Which means I can trade one of these into the Kodo. I can hero power down that one, so I don't give him a good steed target again. I could have also pushed like 12 to face. Maybe I could have set up lethal with Ultimate Infestation. Perhaps that would have been better. Perhaps that would have been better. How to silence the Tyrion. It's still a 6/6 though. Should I just set up for lethal? But now he can play steed. Yeah. I should have calculated my damage better and set up for lethal with Ultimate Infestation earlier. Now I've spent both silences, so steed is now a real problem. But I cannot let him steed the Tyrion.
Time waits for no one.
I think I can afford to take 6. And yeah, I really can't afford to let him steed the Tyrion. But now I'm nowhere near setting up a lethal. I made some mistakes in this game. Oh, that's going to pull a nice patches. Oh dear. He's been holding on those cards a lot. So I have a read that there's a Divine Favor out there. That didn't catch anything. I didn't really expect it to. I played around too many things and I didn't set up for lethal with the Ultimate Infestation. That was the mistake that I made. Because I definitely could have set it up. And if I had done so, well, this game would have been won. Instead of being in the process of getting lost. This looks like a setup for Tarim, maybe. It's going to push face for 8. Yeah. I'm going to have to play the Ultimate Infestation here. Yeah. Still has a good Tarim setup. Oh well, I need to do this. That's the way to go. Yeah, take the value trade, play the Tarim. That's the way to go. That's definitely the way to go for him. And I don't have an answer to that. No, I simply do not. No, that's not a Tarim. Interesting. So that's not a Tarim, which means that maybe I do have some answers after all. Okay, no Tarim. Oh, swipe clears. Okay, well in that case we're going to swipe into our Akoa, if there's no Tarim. Yeah, it's sometimes rough. I haven't quite recovered either. Does have Tarim. Just chose not to play it last turn. Interesting stuff. Well, I think I will respond with a pair of Graced Worshippers. Let's see what he has against these minions then. Those 3/3s don't trade that well into them. Of course he can have Blessing of Kings. Well, there's the steed that I was a little bit dreading here. Okay, I'm down to 9. He's out of cards. I think I play the Twin Emperors here. Interesting times. So Twin Emperors. I could play Twin Emperors and Disciple. What if it objects a Bone Mare? He still cannot push through. I think this is correct. So now all of these, if they attack into the Twin Emperors, unless he draws a buff, all of these will die. He could top deck another Tarim, but that wouldn't make much of a difference. There's no value trades for him to take before playing the card. Okay, this is going well now. Here we go, Fandral. Do I want to Nourish? No, I want to Wrath the 9/4. Then I could hit and hero power. I can also Disciple hit. No, that doesn't make a difference. Actually, I cannot clear the board. For some reason I thought I could. I can't fully clear. But I can clear that one. Leaving with just one minion. And I'm on 9 health, and he has a 1/1 on the board. So there's no way for him to pull another 8 from his hand. Yeah, this is all cool. C'Thun is at the bottom, but... Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.